everything should have dried nicely, as you can see, very nicely indeed. So how are we going to continue? We need to first of all mix a paler colour for the flesh tones, so let's do that, shall we, first of all. So we need some of the Bugman's Glow that we started off with originally, and then some of the, wasn't Black Earth Flesh, was it? It was, it was Black Earth Flesh, sorry. Oh dear. We need some more of this. I want to make a slightly paler flesh colour than we already have. And okay, we'll go over nose, and the cheekbones, and there, on the top of the shoulder. Everywhere basically where there is a high point of the skin. But we also want to add a little bit of definition into areas as you can see, but I'm not trying to make it too obvious. There's not that much of a difference between the original colour, but it's different enough that you can see it if you look closely. And just keep going until you've covered, well not covered, but until you've touched up all of the raised areas. So we're going to carry on doing this, and then we'll come back and carry on with some more highlighting. Okay. Okay, so that's the first level of highlighting we're going to be doing. Next, we're going to be going back into the fascia for the shield, and back into this metallic colour that we had, which was the Lauren Forest and the Stormhost Silver. Picked up the wrong one. And with this, we're just going into the middle areas of the shield, leaving a dark rim around the outside of the shield fascia. There we go. that just gives it a little bit of depth. Hope you can see that. Next we're going to do the cloth which is wearing around her waist. I'm saying she, I mean they. But as I did with the first one, well, as I did when I was applying the undercoat, or the base coat rather, I'm going to do the first one, and then once you've seen that I'm going to stop and come back to it a little bit later. So what we're going to do with that one, we're going to use the colour that we used to put it on anyway, which, if you remember, was Ulthuan Grey. So I'll get some more of this on the palette because the first lot is near enough dried up. I'm going to put it where the original was. We'll not be using as much of it this time because we're not going all over, we're just going in certain areas. Okay, so let's get cracking with this. And so I'll do this one and then we'll pause the camera and I'll get cracking with the other three and then we'll come back once all of these are done. And all I'm doing is going along the edges and picking out the high points and the bits that you know are going to be hit by light. And we're trying to make it look as though it is this particular colour and not grey. Trying to make it look, well, when I say grey, a medium grey. I want it looking a light grey, almost white, rather than the colour that the wash stained it. And we will come back with a little bit of white for this, just to add what you call it, just to add that extra highlight, extra little bit of sparkle to it. Okay, so that's basically what we're doing with this particular mini, or this particular part of the highlighting stage. And we're just trying to, as I say, make the areas that we want brighter just a little bit brighter so they stand out a lot more. There we go. We can use the edge of the brush as well to go up and get a much finer. Oops, I got a little bit of white on the kneecap there. And yeah, and that's all we're doing for that. So I'm going to carry on and do the other three, and you'll see how they look in a few moments. Okay, so I think that is about it. All we can do for the moment with the robe here. I'm saying robe because I don't know what else to call it. That's that done. Next we're going to do a further highlight to the skin, just to make it a little bit paler in certain areas. So we're going to take some of the Bugman's Glow and put it into the Rakarth flesh that's left. Well, there's not much, and it's just some of the more higher what do you call it, more prominent highlights. I'm going to just touch on with this, not doing too much, just a spot here and there. There we go. That's that done. Next job, whoops, we have on the go will be the little leather straps on there, and on here with some little golden bands around the legs. Leather. I'm assuming that's leather straps. So we'll do that, and for that we will use where are we? Oh, no, I don't want that one. There we are. We will use Balor Brown. Okay, because there's not that much, we're just gonna take it out of the bottle. I don't think there is any more. I think it's just those, so we'll get on with doing these. So it's just the two straps here and the ones on her feet. And then we can have a look at the metal areas that need doing now. And then there's a lot more of the little metal areas that need doing. So for that we're going to be using what? We're going to be using Retributor Armour. And again, as there's not much, we'll go straight from the pot and just see if we can just touch the areas where we can see and I think I might speed this one because there was a bit once I've done this, because there's also the armour and the rings on the what am I saying here? There's the armour and the rings on the spear shaft that I also need to do. I'm also going to do the other armour in this as well, all the chainmail kind of stuff, just because I think it looks nicer. There we are. Now, as I said, there's the rings around the spear. And what I'm going to have to do is just try and watch what I'm doing when you're doing this, because it's quite a delicate procedure, trying to get these very tiny what do you call it, these tiny little details. And I think there's also one just around the forehead as well. Okay, so I'm going to do that for each one, and I'll pause it here. When we come back, they'll all be ready for more. Okay. Okay, so that looks like that's all we have on there for the black. Now what we're going to do is go over the spear tip once more, or the spear shaft once more, and we're going to use a little bit of the what was it, Doombull Brown. I'm just clobbering the microphone, I do apologise about that. And into that we're going to put some of the Ultimate Grey to make it just a little bit paler. And we'll just over it and just do the middle of the shaft, or middle areas of the shaft. I picked up the wrong one, I don't know, can't remember which one I picked up. Oh well. Oh, yeah. That's all we'll do for that. And we'll do the same thing around here as well. And there we are. And this just basically adds a little bit of highlight to the shaft of the spear, as well as tidying up any areas that we've accidentally gone over with other colours. If of course you have gone over like I have. It doesn't matter that. Right. Just make sure everywhere's covered on the spear. And you don't have any of the primer showing through. That will do. And we'll carry on and do this for each of the minis. And then we'll come back and highlight the ribbon that runs from the spear down the spear shaft. And then we'll go over the hair once more with the black. And then I think that will be almost it. I still haven't decided how I'm going to do the bases yet, but there's plenty of time for that. I just want to concentrate more on getting the minis painted rather than think about the bases. But as I hope you can see, it's looking nice. Okay, so we've done that bit, and now let's just touch up the sash with a little bit of that green. What was it called again? Ulthuan green or something like that. With spots of the Ulthuan grey to make it just that little bit paler. And just follow the twists and turns so that you can see where the highlights are supposed to be. So what was I doing then? I don't know, I can't remember. Now they suddenly decided to start puttering around and totally throw me off what I'm doing. Oh well, that's alright. There we are. She's taking Laddie out. Okay, so 1, 2, again. I'm trying to, as I say, hit the parts that are facing upwards, not the parts that are facing down. So be very careful where you put these highlights on this, because it twists and turns like a twisty-turny thing, and you don't want the highlight to be on the bottom. And finally, yeah, nearly done. Nearly done. Just as I say, the hair to do now, and then we're finished. So that's the sash done. We'll go over the hair once more, and that was done. Oops, that's not the colour I was looking for, that's the bronze. It's the black that I want, which is that colour. And go once again over the hair just to reinforce the colour. We are going to come along and highlight this in a moment, but we need to make sure that we haven't rubbed the colour off by holding it like I've done in a couple of places. And just make sure that the hair is black, or whatever colour you choose to paint it. I'm painting mine black, but if you've done yours brown or blonde or red, make sure it's all covered first before you try highlighting, otherwise it's not going to look right. Okay, there we are. That is that. And now all we need to do is just highlight the hair, and for that we're going to use a touch of Eshin Grey straight out of the pot. There's no faffing about with this, and we'll do this as a bit of a dry brush just on top. We need to get a small amount of paint on the brush and just there we are. It may not show up on camera terribly well, but I can see it's there. The paint hasn't dried as quick as I thought it would, but never mind. Okay, so that is all we need to do, and that is the Amazons finished. I hope you've enjoyed these videos. I can't remember what's next to do, but let's have a look at the Amazons, shall we? Oh, she's. I'm not going to go any further with the white cloth. I think that looks okay as it is. I'm quite pleased with that. Hope you like it as well. There we are. That's it for this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. Until next time, as always, take care, God bless, and bye.